Honorable Economic Affairs Advisor to the Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Mr. Mashiur Rahman, the Secretary of the Ministry of Finance, Mr. Sheikh Mohammed Salimullah, the Chair of the APRC, Mr. Shigeru Arisumi, the Chairman of the Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission, and my friend and Vice Chair of the APRC, Professor Shibli Rubayatul Islam, distinguished delegates from the APRC member countries, and respected guests, good evening. আপনাদের সবাইকে আমার হার্দিক অভিনন্দন এবং শুভেচ্ছা। It is a real honor to be here in front of all of you and to be able to witness such a beautiful program. Thank you so much for putting this up for us. The riot of colors that were there, and I was sitting next to the Honorable Economic Affairs Advisor who was asking me, does this remind you of something? And I think I would like to answer you from the stage. Yes, it does. It does because I'm not from a place that is very far off from here. I am from India. I have served in India. And the songs that were there, yes, they were there about what has been a little bit of a checkered history, a painful history, but also they were celebrating the current spring. It is the Bashant Ritu. So that was being celebrated. The riot of colors that is there is something that we have seen in India, but I am not here just from India. I am here from IOSCO. And the riot of colors that we all witnessed, all the beautiful shades of all the colors, they first and foremost take me back to where I am from, which is IOSCO, which is international. IOSCO is this canvas of colors that we saw here, that we are seeing in front of us, and therefore thank you for also displaying all the different colors of IOSCO. Now, with that, let me also mention that it is also a privilege to be able to speak to you and to be able to interact with so many of my friends in IOSCO, but also so many of our new friends that are there in this hall. And that is because it is after the pandemic, when we were all confined to our homes, looking at each other just on the screens, that we are able to be here face to face and in person. And it is reinforcing the joy of human interaction. And therefore, thank you to Professor Shibli Rubayatul Islam. Thank you to the Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission for so graciously hosting IOSCO's APRC meeting, the Asia Pacific Regional Committee meeting. For those of you who may not be so familiar with IOSCO, we are the global body of securities regulators, and our over 120 members from these countries together regulate more than 95% of the world's capital markets. So yes, Professor Shibli Rubayatul Islam, yes, we have the larger countries, but we also have the smaller countries. We have all the shades in the world of the countries, and we are very proud of that. And the IOSCO headquarters, of course, is in Madrid. That is where I serve, but we are spread all over the world. And our three objectives of IOSCO are the objectives of public interest. These are the protection of investors, the integrity and efficiency of markets, and financial stability. And our role, or the role of market regulators, has become even more important because of the growth of market-based financing. That the financing comes not just only from the banks, but it comes now more and more from capital markets. And that has been happening since the last 15 years, since the global financial crisis. And as Shigeru-san or Arizumi-san was saying, that these markets are there to serve the people. They are there to be able to, at the end of the day, to be able to result in prosperity, in growth, and in jobs. And therefore, what we do inside IOSCO, just a couple of things, I would say, we primarily set standards for securities regulation, and I know that there are many here from the different segments of the financial industry. So we cover the entire gamut, starting from primary markets, issuers, accounting to secondary markets, to broker-dealers, to asset managers, to commodities. So we cover the entire canvas of markets and we set standards in these areas. And these standards are followed all over the world. And that is because we work together with our members in the setting of these standards. Our work is also today covering the latest issues in the markets, which are crypto, assets, sustainable finance, financial resilience, including how to improve the liquidity of the underlying markets. And I'm glad to say that IOSCO will be among the first bodies to be able to publish shortly its recommendations with regard to the newest area, which is the crypto asset area, in the next few months. But we don't just set standards, we monitor implementation, and more importantly, where there are gaps in implementing IOSCO standards, we try to help our members, because it is only by working with each other, understanding each other, and yes, even having a tea or a coffee with each other, that we are able to better our understanding. But surely we have not been just having tea or coffee here, thanks to the gracious hospitality again of the BSEC, and that, I think, has gone a long way. These meetings have gone a long way in furthering our mutual understanding, and that is because relationships that are being developed now in calmer times help us all during times of greater stress. And the practical use of this understanding has been the instruments of IOSCO, like the IOSCO Multilateral Memorandum of Understanding, and for this region, the Supervisory Multilateral Memorandum of Understanding. And I'm glad to say that the Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission has signed both of these, and the IOSCO Multilateral Memorandum of Understanding is the gold standard today with regard to exchange of information. And therefore, I would like also to compliment this committee, the members of this committee that I see here, and that is because so much is happening in this region. This is the region where so much of the lead is being taken with regard to the way that we work together. For instance, the Supervisory Memorandum of Understanding that has been established here. And I would say this is probably not surprising, because this is the region where the sun first rises. This is the region that sees the sun first, and this is the region from where you're seeing so much of leadership that is happening. And why has this committee been successful, or why has IOSCO been successful? It is because we are not a political body. It is because when we meet together, we discuss issues of substance, where even if policy directions of different countries may not be the same, the objectives of all regulators is the same. That is investor protection, market integrity, and financial stability. But on a personal note, I would also say that beyond all of the work that we do, we are able to meet together like this. And it is on that note, I would say that we relate to each other not just as securities regulators, but as human beings, bringing the values of humanity together. And I think that is what makes us all tick. That is what makes us all work in the public interest. And with that, let me again say thank you again to the Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission, to Chairman Professor Shibli Rubayatul Islam, to Bangladesh for graciously hosting us for so many days for such a successful meeting. And আপনাদের সবাইকে শেষে আপনাদের সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ জানাতে চাই, আর আপনাদের সবাইকে আমার ভালোবাসা জানাতে চাই। Thank you very much.